Yulia, you just don't understand what's happening here. You just don't understand what's happening here. Смотри, Papa. We're stuck, we're flooded, my car is flooded.
On October 30th, 2025, the metropolitan area of New York City was struck by a severe and sudden flooding event, as intense rainfall overwhelmed the city's infrastructure and left destruction in its wake. What began as a heavy downpour in the early afternoon quickly escalated into a full-blown flooding emergency in New York. Reports from the National Weather Service show that Central Park recorded 1.85 inches of rainfall, surpassing a daily record set in 1917. At nearby LaGuardia Airport, the rainfall reached 2.09 inches, and at Newark Liberty International Airport, 1.99 inches fell in the same short span. The rate of this rainfall was exceptionally rapid, with large volumes falling over a matter of minutes, pushing drainage systems beyond capacity. As water poured down, streets turned into rivers, sewer inlets backed up, and basement levels filled with rising water. Many residents describe the onset as almost instantaneous. What should have been hours of rainfall condensed into a chaotic flood within a short period of time. The flooding struck across multiple boroughs of New York City, with especially severe conditions reported in Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, and parts of Manhattan, such as Washington Heights. Roads became impassable, with flooding flowing over curbs and into lanes of moving traffic. Some intersections, such as parts of Bay Ridge and Brooklyn, were inundated. Subway and mass transit systems were disrupted. Water in stations and on tracks caused delays and service changes across the Metropolitan Transportation Authority network. Airports experienced serious delays and cancellations. At LaGuardia, JFK, and Newark airports, inbound flights were held, outbound flights delayed, and many canceled altogether. Power outages and downed trees followed. Gusty winds accompanying the rain knocked trees into power lines. One report estimated hundreds of outages across New York and New Jersey. Tragically, 2 men lost their lives as a direct result of the flooding. In Brooklyn's Flatbush neighborhood, a 39-year-old man was rescued from a flooded basement, but later died at hospital. In Washington Heights, a 43-year-old man and father of 5 was found unconscious in a flooded boiler room in a basement and was pronounced dead at the scene. Evacuation orders were issued in low-lying areas. City authorities alerted residents by text and email to move to higher ground where possible. Rainfall, 1.85 inches in Central Park, 2.09 inches at LaGuardia. At least 2 fatalities in New York City attributed to flooding. Numerous downed trees. By afternoon, the Parks Department had received 147 reports of downed trees. Transit disruptions. At one point, rail service was suspended and airports delayed flight arrivals and departures significantly. It was like the world was ending. The rain came down so hard, and I was upstairs, and all of a sudden, the house shook. Neighbor Diane Squilari in Queens. It was a steady rain throughout. When you look at the amount of water that was coming down, our sewer systems are just not built to handle that. Eric Adams, mayor of New York City. The storm, which drew in additional moisture from Hurricane Melissa, featured rainfall rates of 1 inch per hour. Alex De Silva, lead hurricane expert at AccuWeather. Immediately following the deluge, city officials launched emergency response protocols. The New York City Office of Emergency Management dispatched crews to critical flood zones, while fire and rescue divers of the New York City Fire Department conducted basement extractions in flooded buildings. In Brooklyn's Flatbush case, divers retrieved the victim from a submerged townhouse basement. Transit agencies worked to clear water from tunnels and tracks. Airports coordinated with airlines to reroute flights and manage backlog. Power utility workers were deployed across affected boroughs to restore electricity to thousands of customers. Thousands of messages were sent to residents through the city's official alert system, warning of flash flooding and advising people to avoid basements in low-lying locations. Volunteer organizations, including the American Red Cross local chapter, positioned support centers and shelters where displaced residents could seek dry accommodation and supplies. City officials announced that leaf-clogged storm drains and tree limb debris would be priorities for clearing as part of the immediate mitigation effort. Meteorologists explained that this flooding event was the result of a powerful convergence of moist air and an advancing low-pressure system over the Northeast. According to AccuWeather, the system drew in additional moisture from Hurricane Melissa's remnants, which intensified the rainfall over the region. The rainfall rate, approximately 1 inch per hour in places, exceeded the coping capacity of the city's drainage and sewer infrastructure. Combined with fallen leaves and clogged storm drains, typical for late October, water had nowhere to go but into streets and buildings. Climate scientists have long warned that warmer air holds more moisture and therefore can sustain heavier downpours in shorter periods of time. While attribution studies are pending, the pattern of intense, short-duration rainfall fits projections for climate change-driven weather extremes. Some experts characterize these flash flooding events as part of a shifting baseline, where infrastructure built for slower rain rates may now be under-designed for today's extremes. As of this evening, the flooding subsided in many parts of the city, but the threat is far from over. Rescue and cleanup crews continue to work. Basements are being pumped out, tree limbs cleared from power lines, and transit lines inspected for water damage. The soil across some areas remains saturated, raising concern for future flash flooding should additional rain arrive. Some subway stations and street-level access points remain closed or partially operational as inspections are carried out. The city warns residents in basement apartments, especially occupied boiler rooms or storage spaces, to remain vigilant as these areas filled rapidly during the storm and pose ongoing dangers. Moreover, wind advisories remain in effect in parts of the region. Gusts of 35 to 50 miles per hour are forecast for the coming hours, which may exacerbate damage to weakened trees, power lines, and already saturated surfaces. In the weeks ahead, the focus will turn to damage assessments. How many properties suffered basement flooding? How many households lost power? How many vehicles were destroyed in flooded garages or street parking lanes? And what the financial cost will be to both city and private residents. While the images of submerged streets, flooded subway stations, and the tragic loss of life are harrowing, they also reflect a city and its people, responding and resilient. Emergency teams worked through the night. Neighbors helped each other move pumps and sandbags. Volunteers stepped up to offer shelter and support. In neighborhoods such as Brooklyn and Queens, residents are already coming together to clear debris, lug electronics out of basements, and help each other begin the long process of restoration. New Yorkers have faced floods before, yet with each event, they learn, adapt, and rebuild. The scale of this flood, unprecedented for some parts of the city, underscores the urgency of modernizing infrastructure and strengthening preparedness. Still, from the devastation emerges the potential for renewal. Upgraded drainage systems, better emergency alerting, community-based readiness. The spirit of the city remains strong. From the waters that rose so swiftly, hope now begins its own ascent through solidarity, action, and regeneration.